Picture this. You wake up in the morning, open the newspaper and found out that there has been significantly increase in the open access charges in your state. You are worried after reading this news. What will happen to your open access contract that you have recently signed to procure renewable energy solution? Called up your office, figured out that from your management team that because of this increase in open access charges, the current open access solution that you have taken has become unviable, which means the landed tariff of that open access solution versus your variable tariff that you're getting from the grid has increased from that. Thus, there is no savings left. Are you fearful? Is this giving you a nightmare? These are the similar concerns that most of the industrial and commercial consumers struggle with while signing up the long-term contract. What happens if there is an increase in open access charges? What happens if the landed grid tariff reduces? What happens if there are new open access charges? What will happen to all of my savings? Will this go into vain? Will I wake up one morning to figure out these charges? And let me tell you, this is not something which is not real. There have been a history of in the many of the states, many of the industrial states, wherein suddenly one day you got a new open access charge and all of the solutions that you've taken have become unviable. So with this nightmare reality, with this biggest fear for you to sign an open access contract, I want to make things simplified for you and cover in this video the 3 steps with which you can mitigate this risk of increase in open access charges or reduction in grid charges and still enjoy savings even if such kind of uneventuality or such kind of increase happens suddenly, so that whenever you are reading the newspaper in the morning, you are reading it with a smiling face without having that fear of losing your cost savings. Step number 1, study the historical grid tariff in the state. Check what is the current grid tariff and check the future grid tariff that is likely to be in the future. While studying this, what you have to do is you have to check the variation in the historical grid prices and also check if there is any tariff order which is already available where you can predict what would be the likely grid tariff in the future. This will give you a confidence and also parallelly check what is the landed solar tariff or the open access tariff for you and check what is the gap. So with this will give you a understanding that at what level the grid prices can increase or can reduce by doing this study. What is the demand supply gap? Are the grid prices likely to go up, likely to go down? Because sometimes the prices in the state are manipulated, regulated. So you need to check and do a thorough analysis. This will give you a confidence of the variability in the historical grid prices and the future grid prices. Step 2, do a thorough due diligence on the current open access charges in the state and also do a historical study. How has the open access charges been in the state? Was there any introduction of new charges historically? How are these charges likely to be in future? And also parallelly check if your state is planning to implement green energy open access rules which will mitigate these concerns of inclusion of new charges. Just to summarize, you have to do a thorough due diligence on the current and future open access charges. Either do it yourself or hire the expert to do it. So this will give you a clarity and control on introduction of the new open access charges in future. Third, after having done the analysis on the likely grid tariff in the future, the open access charges in the state and also studying the current landed open access tariff for you, you see there is a huge delta or there is a huge savings for you. One of the important clause that you should negotiate while signing the open access contract is called as minimum saving guarantee clause. In this minimum saving guarantee clause, you negotiate what is the minimum saving that you will get even if there is an increase in the grid charges or even if there is an introduction of new open access charges or there is an increase in current open access charges. Despite all these scenarios, you will still get the minimum savings from the developer, and if you're not getting that minimum saving, you have the right to terminate the contract and move out from this contract freely. So combining these 3, the due diligence on the grid tariff, due diligence on the open access charges, introduction of new open access charges and the RAMBAN, which is the minimum saving guarantee clause, can protect you from situations like the increase in tariff and still give you a minimum IRR, still give you a walkaway IRR even in the minimum saving guarantee clause that you are looking at. I hope you found value in this video, and by implementing above 3 steps, you get a confidence, and that removes your fear of going into open access solution. If you want to find out more such solutions, more such terms which are beneficial to you, and you want to continue this discussion with me, with my team, here is my invitation for you for a 1-to-1 1-hour e-meeting with us, wherein we will cover and understand what are the open access solutions that you want to take, and understand what are the risks that you are grappling with, and propose you solutions against that risk. Here is my commitment to you. This 1-hour investment, time investment for you, will definitely guarantee you at least 100x value. So go ahead, book this consultation call, which is free for you at the link below. And I look forward to see you in the meeting and in my next video.